Well, hello, good morning, Khushamadid, Adab, Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir. I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant, just in case you didn't know that. And this channel is all about Canadian immigration news, updates, processes, things you should do, things you definitely should not with your Canadian immigration application. Today is a Saturday, and therefore we have our episode of the Canadian Immigration Weekly Roundup. Hope itself is like a star, not to be seen in the sunshine of prosperity and only to be discovered in the night of adversity, says Charles Haddon. And I so agree with that, right? I mean, you never think about hope when everything is all hunky-dory. You're only hoping for things when things are not going your way. So always keep your hope alive, and that's the reason why I stay forever hopeful. Canadian Immigration Weekly Roundup, that's what we're doing today, and that's the new episode. Do connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where we are all over the place. PNP draws today, we'll talk about that, whatever has happened in the last week. And there's an interesting one I want to talk to you about, especially Ontario, and then ExpressEntry draws did happen, and the other news and question and answers. Starting with British Columbia, the usual suspect on our weekly roundup. On the April 26th, British Columbia PNP held its weekly round of invitation and invited 112 candidates. They also conducted, and these were basically the skilled workers. So your EEBC, which is ExpressEntry BC, and skilled worker BC categories that they have. And in addition to that, then they also conducted another draw, same time, same day, and they invited 36 candidates, but this time it was targeted occupation, where they targeted on the healthcare and childcare occupations, the early childhood educator. So knock code of 4214, 3114, and 3213. Ontario has been pretty active last week. So they have invited 1,034 candidates in the ExpressEntry trade category. So the ExpressEntry trade category, actually, a lot of people confuse themselves as thinking that this is a general category. It's not. This is for people who have very, very specific knock codes, and let's take a look at that. Okay, Ontario ExpressEntry skilled trade stream. If I just quickly go down to work experience, what they're looking for is for you to have at least 1 year of cumulative paid full-time work experience. Okay, so they're not looking for continuous, it could be cumulative, and it has to be in Ontario. So that is the requirement, that is the criteria. It basically does not include everybody who is outside Canada. It includes people who are in Canada, in Ontario. So this was basically an inland kind of a draw, not particularly for people outside Canada. Even if you're in a skilled trade and you had your occupation should have been in a minor group 633 or in the major group 7273 and 82. This basically means the knock code, your first 2 digits of your knock code should have been starting with 7273 or 82, or your first 3 digits of the knock code should have been starting with 633. Then if you had this work experience in Ontario, then you would be able to apply, or rather you would be eligible in this particular draw. And this was the work experience that was obtained within 2 years from the date you will be submitting your application. And obviously this has to be cumulative, and it could be in one or more multiple occupations, but those that have been listed in this particular draw. And obviously you have to be in Ontario to maintain you have to be in Ontario to be able to submit your application. So this is basically the or rather what we refer to as the skilled occupation Ontario ExpressEntry skilled trade stream draw. But as I said, a lot of people were confused as to what kind of a draw this is. So this was mainly meant for people who are inside Canada, not only in Canada, but in Ontario. But the good thing was that the comprehensive ranking system score for them was very, very low. It went right down up to 300, from 300 to 461. So this is targeting international foreign workers, international students who could be in Canada, who are looking for a way out or a pathway for permanent residence. So obviously, if they have work experience in one of these skilled trade categories that I just showed you, and even if your score was 300, even if your score was 350, 400, it did not matter. So a lot of people who are now in Canada are worried about their CRS scores, because we are expecting the ExpressEntry draws to resume in early July, and the scores are going to be high. So even if your scores are low, but you were in a skilled trade in Ontario, so this was your chance. Right. Ontario then also, which was yesterday, no, day before yesterday, conducted a draw in a human capital. It's a substream of human capital priorities, but also referred to as French speaker skilled worker stream. Here, they have invited 301 candidates, and the CRS range for this was 460 to 467. This is what is a bit of a concern, and why I'll tell you why this is of a concern. Okay. So yeah, this was the skills trade stream that I just referred to you. 1,034 invitations were issued from scores ranging 300 to 461. And yesterday, April 28th, 301 candidates invited, score range of 460 and 467. And the profiles should have been created between the 28th of April 2021 to 28th of April 2022. So basically the whole of last year, they invited everybody who was within that CRS score, even if your profile was created on the 28th of April 2021, or you had just created the profile the very same day. Now, why is it that I'm talking that this is a concern? Now, you see this upper range cutoff at 467, this is a concern. And this is a concern not for French speaker stream or otherwise, but on the draw of 22nd. And let me see if I can find it here. Yes, I should be able to. Yes. So this was the human capital priorities stream draw, which happened on the February 22nd. That was the last human capital priorities draw that happened. They issued 773 notifications of interest. The score cutoff range was 455 to 600, right? They had gone right up to 600 because anything more than 600 means you are a PNP. So the maximum anybody, by all permutations and combinations, anybody can score is a maximum of 600. So technically what Ontario did was they removed the upper cutoff limit. So all profiles from lower range of 455 upwards to 600, all of them, if they had their occupation in demand as listed, they were invited. And this came as a big relief to a lot of people who were otherwise missing out on draws throughout 2021 and big portion of 2020, because Ontario had fixed their upper cutoff at 467. And once they removed this and they put it at 600, we then came to an understanding that Ontario is now basically have removed the upper cutoff, because you see, preceding that draw, the upper cutoff was 467, again 467 on 12th January. So that's what Ontario was doing. Now, the fact that they have come back with the French speaker stream and done a 467, okay, because the earlier draw was on the 8th of February, 467, and then they did a Feb 22 draw at 600, and now they have come back on 28th of April to 467, which then puts everything in a question mark as to the following draws that will happen for the human capital priorities stream. What is that going to be? Would that be at upper cutoff at 467, or will they be opening up to 600? The reason why this is of a concern is because there are so many candidates who are in the pool, obviously, who would be eligible as and when Ontario conducts their human capital priorities draw. They either are growing older, so they will be losing points. Their IELTS or language scores may be expiring, or whatever other country, or their work experience might be spanning out of the 5-year period that Ontario needs them to be. Whatever the condition, they could actually be the people who may be losing out on the ExpressEntry draws whenever the draws would resume, which is in early July. And anyways, we all know, right? By now we understand that when the draws will resume in early July, then they would primarily be extremely, extremely high. And because we know they're going to be extremely high, whoever is in the 470s segment, and also to an extent in the early 480s. Though I don't think 480s have anything to worry about at all, because eventually they will all get cleared. Even the higher 470s should get cleared eventually. But it's the people who are going to be losing their points, who are panicking that they may not be able to make it by the time the draws or the scores actually come down. So if Ontario will stick with the 467 range, then yes, those people could be the ones who might miss out, and therefore the anxiety, and therefore the concern, and therefore the panic. But on the other hand, the people who are within the 460 range, for them it's a good news, because otherwise they do not have a chance with ExpressEntry at all. Scores, I do not see the scores coming down below 470 at any point of time this year, and for a large portion of next year either. I don't see that happening with the way trends are, with the way the trends have been, with the expectation of how many invitations they will be issuing this year and probably the next. I don't see scores dropping below 470 anytime soon. I'm not saying ever, I'm saying anytime soon. Okay, so don't put a gun again on my head. But at the end of the day, so the 460s range, for those people, this is definitely something to look forward to. But again, it's going to remain a speculation until Ontario actually conducts their draw. And for that, we'll keep our eyes open and yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, back to our presentation there. ExpressEntry also conducted a draw, and they conducted a draw which was again program specific. They invited 829 candidates, and the lowest score for this particular draw was 772. Earlier in the previous rounds, 2 weeks back, they had invited 787 candidates with a score of 782. In other news, well, we have news on the immigration backlog, and I will be talking about this in much more details. Immigration Canada has processing inventory which is now exceeding 2 million people across all lines of business. If you remember, a few months back, it had created a major uproar when they said that the backlogs are about 1.8 million. Well, it's not 1.8 million. The backlogs have gone up. The numbers have gone up. Well, I'm not sure what IRCC is doing or where that $85 million is going, but it looks like it's definitely not going in the right place, because it doesn't seem that the backlogs are coming down. As I said, we'll be talking about this very quickly, but how the backlogs have increased. On 6th of July, 2021, they had about 1.4 million people in the backlog. October 27, that number went up to almost 1.792, which is almost 1.8 million. December 15, it was at 1.8 million. February 1st, it basically stayed the same, 1.8 million. March 15th, it came up slightly more to 1.84 million. And now, April 11th, they have gone up to more than 2 million people who are now in the current backlog. This is horrifying. But as it is what it is, as I said, we will talk about this just in a bit more in detail. But do connect with us on social media, please. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Of course, we are also there on TikTok if that is your program or platform of choice. So do connect with us there, and we will be so happy to sort of see you there. Now, let's talk more about the backlogs, because obviously the backlog is a big concern, right? So the immigration backlog actually says that the processing inventory now stands at around 2 million people, and the citizenship backlog has gone down to 400,000 people in April compared to 453 in March. So basically, citizenship application backlog is basically people who are applying for citizenship. It was at about 450,000 in March. It has gone to 400,000. So basically, at least 50,000 people were able to get their applications processed. But this number is continuing to be of concern, because there are lots and lots of people who are continuing to apply. And at this point of time, for a citizenship application, it can very easily take 2 years to get processed, which is horrifyingly long. But I'm going to talk to you about the 2 million people that we are talking about. Where is the biggest chunk of these applications? The biggest chunk of these applications is in the temporary residence applications. As of April 11, they have study permit applications, which are 122,000, which are in the backlog. Study permit extensions, again, these are for people who are inside Canada, 34,000. Temporary resident visas, which is your visit visas or business visas coming to Canada, 558,000. That's a big number. Visitor records are for people who are inside Canada and applying for extensions of their visas in Canada, so that's 73,000. And work permit applications is also sitting at 172,796. This is all as of April 11th. And then there are work permit extensions of 141, 244, again, for people inside Canada who are applying for extensions of work permit. But the biggest concern here is on 3 factors, the ones which I've highlighted for you. If work permits are still at 172,000, work permits include your GTS, your GSS, your Global Talent Stream, your Global Skills Strategy Stream, your intra-company transfers, your international mobility programs, LMIA exempt, with LMIA, owner operators. All of these are included in this number, and not to forget a very big chunk of applications which is under C41 and C42 LMIA exempt, which is also called spouse open work permits. Those applications are also included in this big, huge backlog of 172,000. Yes, we have seen a bit of movement now on the backlogs for the spouse open work permit, but this is a very, very big number. Yeah, you really do not know what exactly is going on there, right? In different visa offices. Temporary residence visas, 558,000. Again, it's a colossal number. A lot of these applications are submitted from India, from China, okay, from certain North African countries. These are the major hubs from where the applications are submitted. And obviously, these are the ones who are currently stuck in these backlogs. But what else have I got here? Then permanent residence applications, of course, that is also another area where a lot of our viewers are concerned. So economic applications has actually gone up by 6,000. Okay, so as of March 15th, we had 230,767 people in the backlog pipeline, and as of April 11th, that number has gone up to 236,443. Now, keep in mind, this number going up has a contribution from TR to PR applications, because if TR to PR applications are being issued, their AORs or acknowledgement of receipt or their file numbers, means now these people are also being added into the processing pipeline, which is backlog. People who are already obviously still getting their provincial nominations, they will then be applying for their PR applications, and those also get added here. Obviously, spousal sponsorships, family class, that's a continuous thing. People keep adding new applications, and that also is seeing a number increase here from a month back. It's gone up by 4,000. So in total, the permanent residence applications, the backlogs have again jumped up by almost about 12,000, 13,000 applications. It was 518,667 on March 15. It has gone up to 529,631 as of April the 11th. But a lot of you are now worried and thinking and concerned about the express entry backlogs, because that is where majority of your applications are. So that number is actually looking better. Okay, so that shows that IRCC at least is paying attention to something on the right area. So you have Canadian experience class, which is only now 8,363 in the backlog. The number is very quickly coming down. In 1 month, in the last 1 month, they have cleared about 2,000 some applications. Federal Skilled Worker Program, FSW, the program, you again are also seeing a reduction in those numbers. So nearly 5,000 applications over there were cleared in the last 1 month. 5,000 is not bad, right? I mean, considering they haven't been touching the applications at all for a good part of 2020 and 2021. So 5,000 applications, sorry, not applications, 5,000 people, I'm sorry, not applications, people. 5,000 people got cleared. And then federal skilled trade is one category which is really bearing the brunt. That did not see much of a moment. Roughly only 50 applications, 50 people were cleared over there. Now, TR to PR, as of today, or rather as of April 11th, you now have 40,000 people who are now in the process queue or a process backlog, which basically means more and more people would have been receiving their AORs, that acknowledgement of receipt. And that 40,903, which is now added into the processing queue or a processing backlog, that is the number which is adding to the total, this backlog number of 236, which has gone up, which you can see, which is looking glaringly, how can this number go up? Well, that is the bigger contribution is coming to you from the TR to PR applications. So this basically is the breakdown of the numbers that we have. This is how it is looking like at this point of time. I know it's scary, but for people who are mainly looking at the express entry, okay, for you guys, and let me just put this back up here. For you guys who are looking at express entry, we all are now expecting the draws. We already know that the draws are definitely going to resume, which is going to be early July. And one of the whole premise of having held back on the draws or putting the draws on pause was to clear the inventory for these applications, which, as we can now see, they are doing a good job of. They only have 45,181. So if I say that they are clearing roughly 7,000 people each month, and that is what the numbers are saying, right? 7,000, roughly 7,000 some odd people they have cleared in 1 month. We are in April now. May, June, July, and probably a good part into August. So if they keep clearing approximately 7,000 people each month and they have 45,000 to go, in the next 4 months, they would have cleared off roughly 28,000 people, more people, right? So this 45,000 would have reduced to less than, you'd be looking at a less than 20,000 figure as of August, I would say, approximately, give or take a few. Which I think would be a great number to have in terms of backlog, because these probably could be applications which were submitted at any point of time in the year of 2021 as well, because you see there are a lot of PNP applications who continue to submit their applications because the PNP draws had continued. So yeah, this is looking all right now, right? This is not looking that bad anymore. But then we have seen I think the worst is already over, and therefore let's look forward to some more exciting and promising days as we move forward. So this was our weekly roundup. I didn't have much to add apart from this. I wanted to talk to you about, yes, one of the reasons why the backlogs, as is being indicated, again, the strain. Earlier it was Hong Kong, then a portion of Afghanistan. We all know Afghanistan crisis, where IRCC completely refused to take any calls and were not doing much with that. And then we have the Ukraine crisis. So as per the statistics or the numbers, as of now, Canada has received 180,903 applications for their visa applications under CUAT, also referred to as CUTE. And the acronym basically means Canada Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel. So they have received 180,900 applications. And as per IRCC, that is where a lot of their resources are being used, and hence a bit of a pressure on the backlog, especially on the temporary residence applications. Fingers are crossed that I hope they get this number down, because 2 million is a big number. And now that this temporary residence applications and profiles are at more than 1 million, that's a big number. I'm not sure when IRCC is going to get rid of those big numbers. Right, let's get on with the questions and see where that is going. Shubham, thank you for the super chat. In our ADR Schedule 4 PNP, we are mentioning our current available funds that's higher than AOR. Is a separate proof of fund required to be sent as well? Well, did you receive an ADR asking you to give a Schedule 4? Because it's not common to ask for Schedule 4 in your PNP application. But if you have been asked, I mean, I'm quite surprised that they're asking you. But if they are asking you for Schedule 4, then yes, you can mention whatever funds are available for you. But you definitely have to provide your proof of funds. You do not get absolved, or you cannot be exempted from providing proof of funds just because you have given a Schedule 4. Schedule 4 is just your declaration of how many funds you have. Where is the proof that you have these funds, right? So please, in your PNP application, there is no exemption from providing your proof of funds unless you are a Canadian Experience class or you are eligible under Canadian Experience class as well. Then you do not need to provide proof of funds. Or if you have a valid job offer. Valid job offer basically means you have a job offer that is accompanied with an LMIA. Or you have a job offer which is considered as valid because you have been in Canada, you are a Canadian Experience class, and your 1 year, your LMIA exempt work permit also comes with a job offer that says that this job offer is valid for 1 year after you become a PR. But the fact that you have Canadian work experience makes you Canadian Experience class, and therefore that is not the criteria. So if you are not exempt from providing proof of funds, you most definitely should, because even if you are PNP, you do not want to risk your application at all. Okay, all right, let's take it from the top. Ruchika says, I am from New Zealand, may not be awake for this session. After doing soft landing, if PR card is issued when I'm not in Canada, can it be couriered to me? I've heard Courier says no, just like passport. Well, I personally don't recommend sending PR cards by courier, because if they are checked at the border control, if they are screened at the border control, they may be seized. So yeah, that's never a good idea. I mean, at least I don't recommend. I know people do it. Nevertheless, I mean, it's not that they want to. It's an easy thing to do, right? So people do it. But if you have any friends or relatives coming through, probably they can carry it for you. That would be much more safer. I don't recommend courier, but yeah, people do it anyways. So it's your decision to take. Had applied for student visa, gave medical, got updated last week, have visit visa. Should I leave to Canada and update address to expedite the process? Have college starting May intake. Well, just because you are in Canada will not expedite your application. This is a myth that people have in their head. They are confused with this. They just feel that if they are inside Canada, somehow IRCC will change the whole process and now start processing them faster. It's not like anything that is happening inside Canada is fast either. So no, please do not fall for that myth or that rumor or whoever is telling you that your application will not get processed faster because you have now come in Canada or you have traveled to Canada. Now you're inside Canada. It's not going to be processed any faster. Whatever is the processing visa office for your application, they will handle your application in the queue that they have for processing. I've just showed you there is a huge backlog of the temporary residence visas, visit visas, your study visas. So yeah, the processing timelines are slightly longer. Can we do medicals before getting ITA or will do post ITA only? Well, you should do medicals the last thing in your application before submission because your visa validity date is connected to the medicals. 12 months from the completion of medicals or having the medicals uploaded to your system is your visa validity date. So the later, I mean, as late as you do it, the longer it gives you the validity on your visa or the other end of the things. So yeah, I mean, it's your choice. A lot of people, as I said, are getting impatient. So it's entirely up to you. But I would say wait till you complete your application, are ready for submission. PRV2 mentioned in text 1, GCMS final approved. Any suggestion why this delay? No, I have absolutely no idea why there could be a delay. I mean, just by looking at a small text, I can't tell you anything. As for you, how many CEC candidates will be in the latest poll of EE? I'm not sure what you mean by poll of EE. I know there is no way to give you any number as to how many people are in the ExpressEntry pool because IRCC does not disclose that number. Called IRCC about my PR application. Agent said this, review required. Do I need to worry about? Well, order your GCMS notes and figure out why the review is required. And then based on that, address your application, looking at what the concern the visa officer may have. Please advise, is it the right time to move to Canada after leaving everything in home country? Well, that is a very subjective question. Is it a right time to move? Well, again, what are you moving or what are you running away from? Okay, now based on that, it could be that you should have moved yesterday or you could move today or you could wait to move. Okay, why are you moving to Canada? Now, if you can answer that question, that will also answer, is it a right time to move or you could wait? So different people move for different reasons. People move because of economic conditions. People move for social conditions. People move for political reasons. People move for family reasons because they have family friends in Canada. There could be any number of reasons that you may connect to your application or your situation. And based on that, you can choose when is the right time. For me, if I have to do something 6 months later or 1 year later, I may as well do it today. The reason for that is the sooner I start with this means the more headway I will have in this process. So basically, if you have an option of moving to Canada after 1 year versus now, and if there is nothing crucial or critical holding you back, I would move today. And the reason I would move today is because 1 year later, I would have had 1 year of experience in Canada doing the job, living my life, my settlement, everything, okay, versus coming to Canada after 1 year. I would also be 1 year older. Everything adds up. And what is more important to you, what is more crucial to you, that will define, what is the right time. For some people, having arrived in Canada earlier basically also means you can now add up to your citizenship, period of stay. And the sooner you get that done, you get your passport. A lot of people, after taking the Canadian passports, move away. They move back to the Middle Eastern countries. They move to US. They move back to their home countries as well, now that they have the Canadian citizenship. Some people are in the process of getting married and they want to move with their spouses. So they want to hold that back. Some families are expecting a new baby. So they want to move to Canada sooner because the child can then become a Canadian citizen. So some people may have a good job prospect that they need to comply or they need to complete their contract period in their home country. So it makes sense to complete that because you don't want to burn your bridges, right? And at the same time, there have been people who have some bond, some sort of a contract, some sort of a bonus attached to completing their work period back in their home country. So it makes sense. You do that. Get your bond cleared, get your bonus money, have that additional, money in your pocket and then move to Canada. Some people don't want to move in a haste. They want to do their research. They want to sort of figure out exactly what they want to do. And I'm absolutely in that favor. Do your research. If you want to come, yes, come as quickly as you wish to, as you have to, but come with a plan, come with a research, come with the understanding of what are you going to be doing once you come to Canada. If you just take the plunge blindly, yes, you will swim. At the end of the day, you will figure it out. You will find out the better ways of doing things. You will figure out, different things that can be done, what can be worked out. But you would lose a lot of time. A lot of this finding out or the expedition process you could actually do by doing your research while you're in home country. So, as I said, it's a very subjective thing. It all depends from one person to another person. What works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. And accordingly, you should do your research, do your due diligence, do your understanding of what works, what doesn't work, what is priority, what is not a priority, what is critical, what is not critical, and then accordingly, go with that. Please explain to me how to declare money in the first landing. Do we need to provide source of funds? Well, when you come to Canada, you can bring any amount of money you wish to bring. There is no problem. There is no requirement. There is no restriction. The requirement only states that if you are carrying cash or equivalent instruments, then you should disclose if that amount is $10,000 or more. Okay. So when you will come to the airport, either you will fill out a landing card if you're still being given one, or you will come to a kiosk where you will enter the information. And there will be one question where it asks you, are you carrying cash or are you carrying money excess of $10,000? If you are, you will say yes. And with that printout that you will get from the kiosk, you will go to the immigration counter. And at that point of time, the border officer will ask you again, are you carrying $10,000? And you will say, yes, you are. And they will make some mark on it. After that, when you come to the customs, when you're clearing customs, they will want to see that. They will want to see how much money are you carrying. If it is going to be in the range of 10, 15, 20, between 10,000 to 15,000, they don't really ask anything. The minute the number goes more than 20,000, sometimes they want to see exactly how much are you carrying. If the number is really large, then they also may want to check, where did you get the money from? Do you have some receipt? So what they want to make sure is that this is not money laundering. They want to make sure that this is not, illegal money that you're carrying. This is not stolen money. Basically, they just want to make sure that you haven't committed any crime and you're bringing this money. So that primarily is one of the reasons why they would want to make sure that you have that clarity. So if you have the funds, just carry the documents from where you got the funds from and you will be absolutely fine. But do disclose if your funds you're carrying is in $10,000 or more. Got ECA done, gave my college, recognized university, but recently the college has become unrecognized by UGC. So what West states is important, or IRCC may do extensive check? Well, as far as the equivalency is concerned, whatever the West report says, that is what is going to make a difference. IRCC may conduct a check if they wish to, if they have some doubt, but that is basically to check the authenticity of your documentation. I have withdrawn my ExpressEntry application. I want to apply for study visa. Does it make dual intent? Well, what you have withdrawn is not an application. What you have withdrawn is a profile. There is a big difference between ExpressEntry profile and ExpressEntry application. ExpressEntry profile you can make if you are eligible. ExpressEntry application is once you have received an ITA, then you have submitted all the documents, and then you made the payment, then you made the application. If you have withdrawn your ExpressEntry profile, that's it. There is nothing to mention. It's the end of it, right? My age is 36, having 8 years of experience. What is my chances? Well, please check the CICC website for your eligibility and then follow the program requirements. And if you're looking for PNP, then check individual provincial website to see what your chances are. What is the minimum tenure one has to stay in the same province before moving? There is no such thing as a minimum tenure. Nobody is holding a gun to your head and saying that you have to stay in the province. When you have submitted your PR application, you have expressed your intention to reside in that province. Once you express your intention to reside in the province, you are morally and ethically obligated to do so, because that is the reason, that is the premise under which the province has given you the nomination. Now, you choose to move the next day after you land in Canada, well, then your intention is questionable, because you probably did not intend to reside at all. And at such case, if for such cases, the province can question it. And if they're absolutely sure, and you are not able to prove otherwise, then they can withdraw the nomination. If they withdraw the nomination, your PR can be revoked, right? That is one situation. And you would also be considered as having misrepresented. That is one. Second would be that you spent a few months, but you still did not enjoy your life. You spent 1 year, you didn't know, you could not get a handle of your life, you could not settle down, you could not find a job, the weather wasn't agreeing with you. Could be any number of reasons. You've stayed here for 6 months, you stayed for 1 year, whatever that reasons might be. If you then choose to leave, and later on, 2 years later, 3 years later, if IRCC does question you, the province questions you about your intention to wanting to reside in the province in the first place, if you have documents to support, documents to back by saying that, listen, I was living in the province, I did try to settle down, I did try to make my life, I did try to look for jobs, I have the SIN number, I have the health card, I have the driving license, I have the lease agreement, I have these emails to show I have been looking for a job, I couldn't find one. I have to feed myself. I have to feed my family. I cannot live on my proof of funds for the rest of my life, right? So what do? So I moved because I found a good job in a different province, and that is absolutely fine. The Charter of Rights and Freedom under the Constitution of Canada, Mobility Rights Section 6 protects you. It says that you can live and work anywhere in Canada as a permanent resident, provided you have not misrepresented your intention under which you have received your permanent residence. So there you go. That is what you should be looking at. I am Merchant Navy officer dependent in a Saskatchewan application. My tenure are 3 to 4 months. If I receive a PPR and I'm on the ship and cannot submit passport in 30 days, what options do you have? Well, in that case, you will need to inform IRCC. You need to let them know that this is your situation, this is your issue, and that you need extra time to be able to submit your application, to submit your passport. I have added my spouse in my ExpressEntry profile, just received the UCI, so when can I get his biometrics? Well, you'll get it whenever it's time for you to get it. That's all I can tell you, because there is no specific timelines to say, okay, I've got the UCI, in 30 days from now, you will get your biometrics. In 30 days from now, you will get this. In 30 days, there is no specific timelines as such. These are the times when Vishwarup says, I have two IELTS scores. One gives me 462, the other gives 470. My knock is in demand in Ontario. Based on this, what should I update? Well, 470 is not going to get invited anytime soon. Okay, as far as Ontario is concerned, it's a hit and a miss, because the last draw they have picked up 467. So I do not know the next draw, whenever they do the human capital priorities draw, will they stick with 467 or will they go for a 600 number? And I can't tell you whether you should stay at 462 or 470. That's a judgment call that you have to make. Spouse open work permit, December 2021. Wait for medical request or do it upfront? I would say wait for medical request. That way you will know what the movement is and what you can expect from there on. CEC candidate with 471. If I do better in IELTS, I could get potentially 474. The 3-point difference, is it worth it? Well, I think you should first wait and watch how the ExpressEntry draws resume this year. Well, because in the beginning, 474 or 471, either is not going to cut it. So you can wait, you can afford to wait and watch. If you see that they are looking to do any CEC specific draws at all, if that is something that they go to, then you may want to, hold on to 471. If you think that they are not going to be doing CEC specific draw, then not only 474, you should be looking at any other possible ways of improving your CRS scores. Because if they will continue with all program draws, 474, in my opinion, won't cut it this year for sure. I mean, I don't see that happening based on the numbers in the pool, but that's speculation. I'm a Merchant Navy officer. If I receive PPR, oh, I just answered that question. Yes, you can write to IRCC at any point of, once you receive a passport request, let them know what's happening in your application, and then hopefully it's not a problem. It has happened in few cases before that I'm aware of. My employer applied for LMIA outside Canada. Will it be approved, and how long does it take to be approved? Well, I can't tell you if it will be approved. Your employer has to be able to establish to ESDC that they have indeed conducted sufficient recruitment efforts and they were unable to find the person in Canada. Therefore, they're bringing you from outside Canada. As of right now, once the application is submitted, within 2 to 3 months, ESDC is able to generate or rather give their decision. We already sent proof of fund before, got ADR asking for Schedule 4, in which we mention current funds, but current funds available are higher. So do we need to give new proof of funds? Well, if you have already sent your proof of funds, that's good. If you have just been asked for Schedule 4, then just provide the Schedule 4 indicating what your current funds are, and you're good to go. I am on visitor status, applied for inland spousal sponsorship. Can I travel to India and come back after receiving AOR? Yes, you can travel. There is not a problem. However, every time you will, or rather, whenever you will re-enter Canada, you will be subject to questioning again for your purpose of visit. And if visa officer is not happy, then they may or may not allow you to come to Canada, or they may give you a shorter duration of visit. But yes, to answer your question, yes, you can travel. Received CSQ, submitted documents to IRCC. No AOR yet. Should we be worried about online submission tool? No, absolutely don't be worried about online tool submission. It is taking almost 1 year to get your AOR. So you will need to probably have patience with that one as well. CR score 368. There was a recruitment drive on New Brunswick portal, but no one received any update. It has been 7 months. Similarly, they had recruitment drive. And my question is, did they hold or stop previous drive? No, they continue to hold these drives, but they don't invite everybody. They invite only those people whose profiles they are specifically interested in. I'm a graduate student in US. I want to go to a conference this July in Montreal. What are my chances? Well, make an application, provide enough reasons for why you wish to come to Canada, provide sufficient finances, provide good ties to your country of residence or home country, and then you have a good chance to get your visa approved. Based on what you said earlier, is it even after receiving CSQ from Quebec, we can accept ITA? Yes, you can receive CSQ and you can still accept ITA. There is no problem. As I said, your intention to reside outside of Quebec has to be expressed and maintained. I applied for Alberta inland October 2021. Medicals have passed. How much time it will take? Well, it will take as long as it needs for them to complete the processing and then send you the passport request, or in your case, virtual landing portal request. Shivam Puri says, I've received Schedule A. Now I realize few address details were wrongly mentioned in my original application. Can I correct it? Yes, you can correct it. If you wish to add a brief explanation, you can also do that. But yes, you can absolutely correct it. You can absolutely mention that these were the correct details which you erroneously did not mention in your previous application. There is no problem with that. Kubeir, thank you for the super chat. I got my PCC in Jan 2022 as my old passport. I received my renewed passport. I haven't been to India. Would I need to do a new PCC on a new passport number? Well, as long as you applied for the PCC while you are outside India, you got that police clearance, and you haven't been to India after that police clearance, then you can use the same PCC with a brief explanation. There is no problem with that. What's your suggestion for spouse open work permit application submitted in 2020, not getting a single update? Do I have to withdraw and reapply? Well, actually, we are now beginning to see movement from those applications. If you wish to reapply, if you're still eligible, then by all means, go ahead and reapply. And but that does not mean that the newer applications will see a faster processing time. Can I add 1 or 2 addresses which I missed in my original applications? Yes, you definitely can. There is no problem with it. Can aviation firefighters apply? Yes, you can. Of course, check ExpressEntry. If you are eligible, if you have sufficient points, you will be able to apply. There is no problem with that. Husband gave biometrics in UAE. Can he submit passport in India? Anything extra should be done? No, nothing extra should be done. You can definitely submit your passport from India if that was your country of residence in your application in the first place. Your letter from IRCC, once you get the ready for visa mail, that will tell you where you will need to submit your passport for your stamping, and based on that you will be able to submit your passport for stamping. But yes, there is no problem. You can submit it in India even if you gave your biometrics. Giving biometrics in any country, that does not matter where you should submit your passport. Okay. I get a minor surgery done a month or 2 before my medicals. Should I avoid it? No, not at all. You can, if it's a minor surgery, it's not a problem. When you go to complete your medicals, simply let them know that you did get your minor surgery, carry your doctor's report, and you'll be fine. There is no problem with that. I'm planning to apply for spousal sponsorship with COPR instead of PR card, as my husband did not receive it. Do I need any letter of explanation? What are the chances of rejection? No, there are no chances of rejection just because you're applying with COPR instead of PR card. Having a PR card is not a mandatory requirement. It does help in establishing that you are within the compliance of your residency obligation and that, of course, you're a PR. But if you do not have it, that's absolutely fine. Provide a brief explanation that you haven't received your PR card and this is your COPR, which is a confirmation of your permanent residence, and you will still be able to apply. There is no problem at all. Okay. I'm sorry, Faizan. Thank you for the super chat, but there is no question there. ExpressEntry PR category, biometrics done. When can I expect PPR? I hope very soon. I am a dentist. My husband is an HR professional. I don't have PNP option, but my husband has. Can we create only one profile with me being the primary applicant? Can we have two profiles? Yes, you can have two profiles. Each one of you can be the primary applicant in the ExpressEntry profile, and you can both have separate profiles. There is no problem with that at all. All right. Okay. Last question. Faizan, my postgraduate work permit will expire on 7th May. Should I apply for extension right now since I am working right now and I don't want to lose my status? Well, if the new announcement for the new policy, public policy that is going to come, if that is not issued by 4th or 5th of May, then yes, go ahead and apply for your postgraduate work permit extension under the public policy. There is a provision when you're completing your application, when you're answering those questions, there is a question which comes, are you applying for extension under the public policy? Say yes to that. Go ahead and complete your application, apply for extension. At least you will continue to work while your application is in progress. Can I create ExpressEntry profile? What would be the case if I got a job under AIP? Please advise best possible way to find a designated employer. To find a designated employer, obviously you have to research online. You can check on the individual provinces website. You can check the Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Islands, and New Brunswick and Newfoundland Labrador websites. Check for which employers are designated. You can contact those employers and you can ask them if they will be willing to give you a job offer. And yes, there's absolutely no issues. You can have an ExpressEntry profile, still apply for a job under AIP or rather to a designated employer. And then if you are successful, then apply for AIP. There is no problem with that at all. Right, so that pretty much sums it up for today and today's episode. Thank you so much for joining in. If you are not following us on Instagram, then please do. It's always a fun place to be. And if you wish to make an appointment with me one-on-one so we can discuss your application and your details in detail, then by all means, please, that is the link. And yes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We would like to see these numbers going up. It was nice talking to all of you and doing this episode once again. Thank you so much for joining in today. I shall see you next time. Until then, stay safe. Take care.